So, first, I wish you all the best. Quick question.
Yeah.
Can you ask Jesus? Because recently I find out about the Super Memorandum from Strasbourg, which was in 2014, and actually was the plan of Cabal. And this actually has an effect on all the countries in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And my question will be, would it happen? Or would it
Can
this?
you give us a couple of details of what that is about?
Yes, this super memorandum, which was signed in June, 29 of June in Strasbourg, was asking all the governments to sign for a lot of reforms which are in education, bringing in schools instead of religious sexuality, pornography. In my country already, they implement this law. Second was about health, and within the health, it's about the mandatory vaccination. In my country already, on 3rd of March, they promulgate this kind of law,
Mm-hmm.
and very much going against Christianity.
Right.
Uh, and, you know, a lot of reforms about the church, and actually they try somehow to limit the access of the people going to much closer to the church and to the religion. So education, health, um, religion,
Mm-hmm.
all are being affected, are stipulated in this super memorandum. And later we find out that the Brexit was supposed to be driven by this kind of imposed super memorandum. Somehow, United Kingdom didn't want to sign such a memorandum. So I'm thinking about what will happen in the future for the countries in Europe, especially because this will affect education, this will affect health, will affect impact everything.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry if I was too long.
No, it's just good to hear a few little details about what it is and why you're concerned. We've got lots of time. There's no need to make it so brief. Okay, let's see what Jesus has to say. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. We want you to reflect on what you just said. There was a decision by England that they did not want to join in that agreement, and so they declared their sovereignty. This is what all of the individual beings are going to have to do. You are going to have to declare your sovereignty, because there has been a long and steady training program of getting everybody to do as they're told. And this is what's at play right now. England has been independent for a very, very long time. It is not ideal, we will say. We're not saying that England is an ideal country, far from it. But their decision-making abilities have always been valued highly. So when the European Union was pushing to change things that went against the grain of those particular politicians and those particular participants, the British people, they stood firm. And you saw the trouble, you saw the arguments, you saw the accusations, you saw the fear-mongering. If you leave the European Union, you are going to be poor. You are going to lose everything that you've gained in the last 50 years. It is not so. They, we say, dodged a bullet. What's going to happen for each of you is, in reference to what we said in the introduction, is that you must begin to claim your sovereignty at all opportunities. That means that when you have children that you are refusing to vaccinate, if that is your choice, You are refusing to go into the system as often as possible, and you are gathering together with other beings who feel the same way. So what these governments are relying on is the sheep mentality. And they are relying on sheep mentality because they have taught you how to be sheep. They know what they have done through the training programs of your televisions, your movies, and your education system. So this is an act of free will, the reclamation of your sovereignty, beginning with your own personal life. It is very, very hard for you when you're living in a world that seems to be ruled by governments and that you have no choice. It seems as if there is no choice, but this loss of choice has been incremental. It has been done little by little so that you don't notice it. So what each of you are going to have to do is to stand firm and refuse to comply with those rules. What does that look like? It means not taking your babies in for their regular vaccinations. And when somebody contacts you and says you need to come in, to say, I'm not going to come in. Now, there will be a fear response that there will be some jackboot wearing police officers at your door coming to get you. But this will not happen if there are enough people doing it. This idea that you are alone is a form of separation thinking, a form of separation consciousness. If you are really concerned about these transforming legislations, it's time to connect with other people. It's time to connect with those beings in your community that you know disagree with this. It's time to connect with beings in other countries that are putting up a fight against these things to say, I want to join your community because I want to figure out how my country is going to weather this assault. Now, assault is what this is. It is a draconian imposition of powers over. But what you understand is that if you fight with the same energy, then you are merely going to strengthen those powers that are in control at this time. But if you come at it from as a spiritual warrior, saying, I declare my own sovereignty, every time you read something or every time you hear something, every time you watch something that is saying this is going to happen to you in your living rooms, in your cars, you stand firm and you say with your voice, I am a sovereign being. I do not comply. This is going to be sending out an energetic message to the universe that you are a sovereign being. It is going to change the world you experience. If you hear the newscast and you go into fear and you see yourself cowering behind your front door with people ruling over you, that is what you are going to create. So we are really asking all of you here to be very well aware of the frequency that you are holding every time you hear this information. If you feel a sense of powerless, stop dead in your tracks and say, I am not powerless. I am a sacred being. I am made in the image of God and I am sovereign. I do not comply. And as you're going through your days, with your regular activities, with your getting on the bus or getting in the car, pay attention to where you are unnecessarily compliant. So, for example, our dear one has decided that she is not social distancing. In her world, she says, everyone else can social distance if they want, but I'm walking a straight line to where I want to go. And if somebody wants to back off from me or move away, they're free to do that. But I am going to walk in a straight line where I'm going. And whenever she catches herself sidestepping, she immediately moves back into place. And internally, she says, I'm a sovereign being. I'm a free being. I am going to walk wherever I choose freely. So as you're going through this new experience of going out into public after being locked down, these are the multitudinous opportunities that you are going to have throughout your day to see where you're compliant. It is this compliance that these governments are banking on, and they know you have it because they taught you how to do it. So it is in this reclamation of your sovereignty and the sharing of that information with anybody that you know who is unhappy about the transformations that they are seeing coming down the pipe, or somebody who is expressing concern. You can say, this is what I'm doing. This is an energetic revolution. And all of you that are doing A Course in Miracles are rising above the battleground in that sense. When you are choosing forgiveness, when you are choosing love. Now it may sound like what we're saying is against something. It is not. It is for your sovereignty. We are not saying attack anybody. We are saying assert your sovereignty as often as you can and get together with like-minded people so that you all know that you're not alone. This is the way to transform the outer world. And there will be a part of your mind that says, yes, but they have so much power. Yes, they've been doing this a long time. Yes, this is a great orchestration. And how are individuals such as myself able to shift and change the world? You are able to shift and change the world because it is compliance that has led to this. It is all of the people complying. So this is going to be about homeschooling your children. This is going to be about turning off the television. This is going to be about moving to a place that you feel is more supportive of the life you'd like to live. There are a lot of beings who live in places that are not supporting the vision they have of their desired life. That means they're doing something that is not in alignment with their heart and their soul. And of all times, this is the time to begin to call yourself out on those issues that are out of accord with your true desire to be a free being, a self-sustaining being, an expressive being, a creative being. So when you find yourself feeling down about the impending impositions, ask yourself, what am I doing that's making me feel down? Oh, I believe that they're more powerful than all of the people. Is that true? Question yourself. Is that true? No, it's not. If everybody rises up and says, we will not comply, there is nothing that they can do about it. So that is the way to deal with it on a personal level. It is up to the people. It is up to the people to decide whether they are going to comply or not. So if you do not want these impositions implemented in your society, begin to ask yourself, how can I gather other people around me? How can I join a group perhaps that's already in place? There are many, many anti-vax groups that are functioning globally. Join them. Give them a donation, ask them if there's any event coming up that you can volunteer at, ask them if there's the skill set that you have, is there something you can do that can help their organization? These are the things that are going to be required because in general, the members of Western society have become domesticated and have become very passive. But there are always the warriors. There are always those on the leading edge, and they are showing themselves already. Join them. Let them know that they are not alone, and bring into being your vital life force and use it for good. This is not a passive process. There has been this idea that A Course in Miracles students only sit around in their living rooms meditating. Each one of you will have a rising in you now. And our dear one mentioned this a few weeks ago. She said, there is something arising in me. It's almost as if I'm preparing for something. And she feels it as vital life force. She feels it as power. She feels it as energy. She yet does not know what it's for. but each of you will be feeling this arising of energy, and it is the evolution of your physical bodies. You are being upgraded. You are being tuned into 5D, which is not a passive place. It is a place of action and passion and joy and creation. So it's going to feel a little different than what you've been used to in suburban Western life or urban Western life, which is a much more passive way of being entertained, being comfortable. Many of you are getting uncomfortable, and that's because the House of Cards is beginning to move and sway. So we want you to understand that that's what's happening, and that your sovereignty is your choice. Your sovereignty is your choice, and what you do with that vital life force is your choice. Choose wisely.